If you've ever felt both lifted and trapped by someone's words, you're not imagining it. The truth is, the most dangerous tool a narcissist has isn't a harsh word, a scream, or a public insult. It's a compliment. A simple phrase that feels like admiration, like love, like approval. But quietly, subtly, it rewires how you think, feel, and behave. Maybe right now you're struggling with someone who says all the right things. Someone whose praise makes your chest warm one moment and your stomach twist the next. You replay their words over and over, trying to understand why something that sounded so positive didn't feel good. That unease, that confusion, is exactly where their power begins. And by the end of this video, you're going to see the method behind the manipulation. Once you see it, you'll notice it everywhere. Here's the first thing most people never hear. Narcissists do not compliment you to make you feel good. They compliment you to position you, to set a stage, to assign you a role that serves them. And that's why you walk away from their words feeling both elevated and exhausted. You don't feel love, you feel caught. And the next moment, you'll start to see why it's almost impossible to break free without recognizing the pattern. Let's start with the different from everyone else compliment. It sounds flattering, doesn't it? You're different from everyone I've ever met. Your brain lights up. Your guard drops. Your ego relaxes. But notice the subtle shift. The moment they say this, they're not just praising you, they're claiming authority over who is special. And suddenly, without realizing it, you're auditioning for a category they created. You're no longer just yourself. You're different under their definition. And the first time you realize that you're chasing that label instead of being free, you'll understand just how deep this trap goes. Once you're labeled different, the rules change. Suddenly your behavior is being measured. Your choices are being tracked. You're rewarded when you fit the mold and subtly punished when you don't. And at first you don't notice. The reward feels like love. The punishment feels like disappointment. But over time the pattern becomes unmistakable. And the next time they compliment you, you won't be able to separate the praise from the pressure, and that's when it begins to control you. Here's another version you've probably experienced. You're strong. I don't need to worry about you like I do others. On the surface, it feels empowering. But watch closely. This compliment isn't about celebrating your resilience. It's about setting expectations. You become the low-maintenance option, the one who hides struggle, the one whose needs are invisible. And the moment you do need support, that compliment becomes a weapon. But I thought you didn't need help? That's emotional manipulation disguised as admiration, and it doesn't stop there. Covert narcissists are masters of this quiet control. They don't dominate with aggression. They dominate by rewarding self-abandonment. They smile as you shrink yourself to fit the compliment. And the longer it goes on, the more you start to doubt your own instincts. You begin asking yourself, am I too sensitive? Am I overthinking? And the truth is, your sensitivity isn't the problem. Their praise is designed to create that self-doubt. And just when you think you understand it, they introduce a new layer, one that keeps you hooked in ways you'll only notice later. For example, the smart but overthinking compliment. You're incredibly intelligent, but sometimes you think too much. Your ego grabs the first part. Your nervous system grabs the second. You now exist in a liminal space, valued but flawed, admired but under evaluation. And while you're trying to figure out which version of yourself they truly see, they're already 2 steps ahead. That confusion is intentional. It keeps you engaged. It keeps you attached. And when the next compliment lands, you'll see it builds on this tension, drawing you deeper without a sound. Timing is another critical part of their strategy. Narcissists often deliver compliments at the exact moment your defenses are down. Right after conflict, right after distance, right when you're considering leaving. That's not accidental. Your brain begins to associate relief with the same person who caused pain. Emotional whiplash becomes the norm. And when this cycle repeats, trauma bonding quietly forms long before you even recognize it. That's why walking away feels impossible. Not because you're weak, but because your nervous system is conditioned to crave the very person who destabilizes it. Then there's the potential compliment. You have so much potential. I just know you're capable of amazing things. Sounds inspiring, right? But notice what happens inside you. Potential lives in the future, not the present. Their praise creates pressure to perform, to evolve, to meet standards that exist only in their imagination. You're chasing a shadow, And the closer you get, the further it moves. You start believing that love, approval, and validation are rewards for compliance. And while you're working to earn it, the person who delivered the compliment watches quietly, perfectly aware of the hold they have. Some compliments are disguised as intimacy. I don't usually open up like this, but I feel safe with you. The effect is immediate, chosen, trusted, special. But here's the subtle trap. You are now the emotional container. Their trust is conditional on your continued presence and stability. And when you finally need reciprocity, suddenly the privilege is revoked. That's the cruel elegance of their method. By layering praise with expectation, they ensure that the very thing that drew you in becomes a chain. Notice how these compliments are often vague, but charged with emotional weight. You just have something about you. No clarity, no specifics, just mystery. And the ambiguity forces you to fill in the blanks. Your hopes, your insecurities, your self-doubt, all of it attaches meaning that was never given. That's how manipulation works in slow motion. It's quiet, invisible, almost poetic. Until one day you notice the pattern and suddenly it's everywhere. At some point you realize that compliments no longer relax you. Your body braces even when your mind smiles. Your nervous system recognizes patterns before your conscious mind does. That tension is a signal. Not that you're weak, not that you're broken, but that your emotional system is learning what it couldn't yet put into words. Kindness here is conditional. Here's the turning point, the moment most people never reach. The solution isn't learning how to get better compliments from a narcissist. The solution is noticing why their praise mattered to you in the first place. Why did it move you? Why did it feel like a reward? Once you trace that back, you'll see the invisible strings. And once you see the strings, you stop tugging on them yourself. When your self-worth stops relying on their approval, everything changes. Compliments lose their weight. Confusion fades. The nervous system relaxes. And suddenly clarity appears. You can see the pattern without being trapped in it. You don't need to confront. You don't need to expose. You don't need revenge. You just need to stop participating in a game that was never fair to begin with. From now on, notice your response to praise. Does it expand you or confine you? Calm you or activate you? Make you feel grounded or evaluated? Your internal reaction is far more revealing than any external word. Because emotional manipulation only works if you're unconscious, if you're unaware, if you're hooked. Awareness is the exit. Awareness is freedom. Awareness makes their compliments meaningless. And that's why it matters. If this video resonates, if it's putting words to feelings you've carried but couldn't explain, that's not coincidence. That's the first step toward reclaiming your emotional life. The moment you stop needing approval, the person who complimented you for control loses every ounce of power. And you finally get to be you fully, unapologetically. If you're ready to see through these patterns and reclaim your clarity, stay connected to this channel. Subscribe not for validation, not for advice you already know, but because you're done letting confusion and manipulation decide who gets access to your life. This is your reset, your awakening, your power, and now finally you get to keep it.